And there are more than 60 different 7mm cartridges. Don't get freaked out by all these options. Your head starts to spin and you can't figure out an answer.
7PRC, 28 nozzler, the list goes on, Ron. Are any of these new 7mm cartridges any better than the old ones?
Well, let's find out. All right, Landon, I want you to shoot this. All I'm going to tell you is it's a 7mm. All right. 300-yard gong out there. I got a little yellow flower stuck up in there. Aim just underneath that flower about an inch and see where that thing lands and tell me what you think about the recoil.
All right, can do.
Whew, 2,917 feet per second, buddy.
Woohoo, feels not bad.
Now, I have here another rifle for you to shoot.
Okay.
It's a 7mm.
No way.
Tell me what you think. Recoil and how you like it. Dingo, 3,262 feet per second.
That one's screaming a little more.
Which one had more recoil?
You know, I'm going to say they're about sixes.
About sixes?
I wouldn't be able to tell you a difference.
Shoot that, tell me what caliber it is. It's a 7 caliber, but tell me what cartridge.
I can do that.
You killed it. Okay, I'm gonna hand you one more rifle. Shoot it, tell me which one it is.
Bingo, got that one. What'd you think? Which one was a better killer?
I think they both would kill.
One was a 7 mag, one was a 7PRC. Could you tell the difference?
No, honestly couldn't.
There you go, two of them now. Can't tell the difference, neither can your elk. Both Tate and I agree that the 7mm is about the perfect diameter cartridge for general big game hunting. But which cartridge driving that bullet and how fast, that's the question these days. That's why we have so many new 7M's popping up. Do we need them all? I don't know, but I'm so enamored of them, I wrote a book on it. And there are more than 60 different 7mm cartridges covered in this book. Why do we have so bloody many of them?
They're popular, they're sleek, they have a wide bullet choice from 120 all the way up to 195 grains.
Wow, yeah, they can do what you need to do, whether you're hunting smallish antelope or really the biggest antelope in the world or the biggest deer or the moose. They can do the job. But why do we have to pick between the 757 Mauser, the original 7, and now the 7mm backcountry, on top of the 28 nozzle, on top of the 280 Ackley improved, on top of that? It goes on and on and on.
Well, I can tell you, I'm an elk guide. I've seen elk shot with just about every single one of them, and none of the elk cared or knew what they were shot by.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the people pulling the trigger don't know either.
And we're here to prove it today.
So, in this episode, we are going to cover some of the numbers that you want to consider and some of the practicalities, like can you find ammunition? Is there a wide variety of ammunition? Do you get the bullets that you want in each of them? Are they twisted fast enough to stabilize these bullets? Does it really matter if you shoot a heavier bullet or not? And how accurate are they? Well, that kind of varies from rifle to rifle, but we've got a couple of beauties we're going to work with in this episode. See how well they shoot, how far they shoot, how flat they shoot, how powerful they hit, and if anybody can tell the difference.
We have two very nice rifles out here right now. One is chambered in 7 mag, the other one is chambered in 7PRC. This one is a very beautiful custom rifle that is Ron's and has a very beautiful trigger, beautiful stock, very good mountain rifle.
This represents my idea of a more traditional rifle, traditional formation on your stock, synthetic, weatherproofing with Cerakote finish and all.
And this is a Weatherby 307.
Whereas this one's off the shelf. You don't have to spend to get a custom rifle because Weatherby's making this new with carbon fiber stock, carbon fiber barrel.
Yep.
It's threaded so you can put
suppressor
on it. It's a little bit of an older system, a little bit newer system. But which should you get it chambered in? This is the argument these days. 7PRC, 7 Remington Magnums, the old dog. What about the new 7 backcountry?
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys are starting to pick up that 7mm SAUM, that old short action one.
Yep.
They're discovering that that thing's pretty darn efficient. But does it really matter in the field? Obviously, these new cartridges are designed for the long, high BC bullets. That's everybody's interested in it. It's all the rage. The question I always have is it really necessary? So we ran some ballistic numbers. Guys, this is what it's all about. Ballistics is the science of and the performance of your bullets in the air as they're getting to the targets. This is why BC matters. It's just an efficiency number. If you have an efficient bullet, it's going to drop less. It's going to retain more energy. It's going to deflect less in the wind. It's going to make you and your rifle more accurate. So they make the new PRC cartridges, the new BC cartridges, but does the old 7rem mag just hangs right in there with them, according to the charts we've churned up?
Yes, so at 300 yards, every single one of these cartridges, 7rem mag, 7 PRC, 7 backcountry, they're all within an inch of each other with windage and elevation drop.
Yeah, an inch at 300 yards. Most of us can't hold that precisely, so what do we care? But what bullets are we using? Are we getting a more efficient bullet? I measured with a 170 grain bullet, because that's kind of the one they're putting on the new 7mm these days, and I went with a Federal Terminal Ascent because that's a really solid, proven hunting bullet.
And they load one in both the 7 backcountry and the 7 PRC.
But not the 7rem mag. And this is where a lot of guys are going to say, see, that's why I don't want that old 7rem mag. I can't get those highly efficient bullets. But look at the numbers. Even though you're shooting now just a 155 grain terminal scent bullet in the 7rem mag, it has the same windage deflection as the 7 PRC with that 170 grain.
Out
So
to
you're not
300
giving
yards.
anything up.
No, and most people shouldn't shoot past that anyway.
But what about the ones who do want to shoot farther? I always say 600 yards is the ultimate maximum, right?
That's my cap.
All right,
personally.
what are the numbers saying on 600 yards?
You get a little bit more drop out of the 7 PRC.
That one drops about 9-10 inches more than the BC.
10 inches more
It
than the
actually
backcountry.
drops more than the 7 because the 7's shooting a lighter bullet faster. The 7rem mag with a 155 grain bullet outperforms the 7 PRC with a 170 grain bullet.
And
this is gonna, wow, a lot of people's brains are gonna explode.
And I can promise you, regardless of the bullet you shoot that elk with, it's not gonna die. I've seen elk get shot with a 7rem mag with a 139 grain bullet at 500 yards. I wouldn't recommend it. I saw it done, and the elk dropped one shot, didn't get back up.
Well, then why wouldn't you recommend it?
Most people can't shoot that far, that's why.
Yeah, we're not advocating for excessive shooting ranges, guys, but this is the point. And this isn't to say that the 7 PRC or the 7 BC or any of them are bad. You get to make your choices. So what does it come down to? If there's not a huge difference in the ballistic performance, and we've pretty much determined that terminal performance depends more on the bullet you're using than which cartridge drives that bullet. So then how do you make your choice? I know a lot of guys are going to say, well, I'm going to choose because I think this new 307 from Weatherby right here, this Alpine, is just the sexiest rifle I've ever seen.
Which I agree with them.
And that's a fine reason. I mean, that's how most of us pick our first guns. We can always change the cartridge we want to shoot in it. Give me that rifle, but chambered in this, right?
Well,
so
and some people would say it's more comfortable to shoot because you have a threaded barrel and all these nice new things.
I think what you need to consider, in addition to the kind of rifle you want, the styling, the materials, do you want the carbon fiber stock? Do you want the carbon wrapped barrel? Or are you good with the old-fashioned stuff, even older than this? Sometimes they even make them with wood handles on them.
Yes.
That's personal choice, weather concerns and that. But if it's a well-made rifle, it's going to shoot well. I think what you might want to consider is the availability of ammunition.
Yes.
You know, we talked about this Federal Terminal Ascent bullet, but there are plenty of other bullets out there. I would say pick your bullet first, find out if it's chambered or loaded on the cartridge you're considering. That might help you decide. Also, what's your local availability? Some stores don't handle a lot of the more exotic things. This backcountry is so radically new that I think you can only get ammunition from Federal. How long that continues, I don't know. Whereas with that 7rem mag, even though you don't have the fast twist barrels to stabilize all these new bullets, we've seen the numbers, and it's delivering elk killing energy out to 600 yards, no problem. You're still well over 1,500 foot-pounds, and the deflections weren't any worse. The drops weren't really that much different from the 170, so you might say, I'm just going to stick with the old horse here because he's been ridden many, many miles and he's got plenty more left in him. Not like me.
Now, I think there's something nice about these new cartridges that can shoot the higher BC bullets, but as we've seen today, it doesn't really matter that much.
Got one more thing to add, guys. I think you can get rifles like this Weatherby 307 in 7rem mag with a fast twist barrel.
Yes.
Now you're expanding your horizons quite a bit.
You are.
You can shoot the standard ammunition of all the different varieties that are out there, but if you're a hand loader, you can start popping on the bigger, longer bullets. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of the ammo manufacturers are going to be starting to load up bullet weights like that as well. Something to keep an eye on. So what do we tell our audience when they're saying, okay, guys, what you're giving me a bunch of numbers here. Tell me which one I should get for my hunting.
I think it's personal preference.
There you go, guys. We didn't learn anything in this show. Well, guys, when it comes down to 7mm, obviously, as I've mentioned a few times, you've got more than 60 good choices. And you've got to decide for yourself. I would say don't get freaked out by all these options. It's great to have options, but sometimes you get so many that your head starts to spin and you can't figure out an answer. Consider the cost, consider the kind of rifle you want, the made of, the materials and all that, and then consider ammunition variability and availability, and then how far you're going to shoot. For, as you said earlier, these are hunting 7mm. I don't think you're going to make a wrong choice with either the BC from Federal or the PRC from Hornady or the good old Remington Magnum from everybody. Because they, as we've shown here with these numbers, all shoot honest and straight. And so does Tate, and so do I, and we hope you do too. Hunt honest and shoot straight with your 7mm. And according to one of the best guides that Tate ever hired, his name is Griffin. It's not bad for editor either. You missed again. Typical, Griffin. Typical.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that elk that got away last time?
Yeah, I remember that.
I think I understand why.